Hey, English learners! Welcome back to English Voice Podcast, the place where learning English feels simple, natural, and relaxed. I'm Elena.
And I'm Jax. We're really happy you're here with us today. Maybe you're listening while having your morning coffee, walking outside, traveling to work, or just relaxing at home. Wherever you are, thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
If you enjoy learning English with us, don't forget to follow or subscribe to English Voice Podcast and share it with someone who is learning English too. All right, let's jump into today's episode.
Yelena, can I ask you something before we start?
Sure.
Jax, have you ever been in a situation where you needed to tell someone something was important or necessary, and you stopped and thought, should I say must or have to or need to, and you just picked one and moved on hoping it sounded right?
Oh yes, all the time. I remember once telling a colleague, "You must send me that file today." And she looked at me a little strangely, like I had given her a command. And I immediately thought, maybe I should have said, "You need to send it," or "You have to send it." They all mean something is necessary. So why did must feel so intense?
And that feeling that something is the same but different is exactly what we are going to explore today. Because must, have to, and need to do all talk about necessity, but they come from completely different places, and where they come from changes everything about how they sound and feel.
So today we are talking about 3 of the most important obligation words in English: must, have to, and need to. And by the end of this episode, you will not just know when to use each one, you will feel where each one comes from.
Because when you understand where a word comes from, it stops being a rule to memorize. It becomes a feeling you recognize.
Today we have 3 ideas that will completely change the way you think about obligation in English. And Jax, I think our listeners are really going to love the third one.
The third one is the one that stays with you, so please stay with us all the way to the end. Let's begin with idea number 1.
Idea number 1. Must and have to both talk about obligation, but they come from different directions. Must comes from inside, have to comes from outside, and that one difference changes everything about how each word feels when someone hears it.
When you use must, the obligation comes from you, from your own mind, your own values, your own strong sense that something is important or necessary. Must is personal. Must is internal. It says, I believe this is essential, and this belief comes from me.
I must call my mother tonight. You must try this restaurant. We must not waste this opportunity. In all of these, the speaker is expressing something that feels deeply important to them personally. It is not a rule from outside. It is a conviction from within. That is why must can sometimes feel intense, because it carries the full weight of the speaker's belief behind it.
And have to is different. Have to comes from outside, from rules, from circumstances, from other people, from systems that exist beyond your own personal feelings. Have to is external. It says, this is required of me, not by my own conviction, but by something outside of me.
I have to submit this report by 5 o'clock. The deadline was set by someone else, not by me. She has to wear a uniform at work. The company requires it. We have to pay tax. The law requires it. Have to describes obligations that come from rules, systems, institutions, or situations that exist, whether you like them or not.
And this is why your colleague felt the difference when you said, you must send me that file. Must made it sound like your own personal feeling, like a strong inner conviction that she had to send it. Had you said, you have to send me that file, it would have sounded more like there was an external reason, a deadline, a policy, a situation that required it. Same necessity, completely different source.
I want to share something personal. I once received a message that said, you must reply quickly. It made me feel slightly pressured, almost defensive. Then I thought how different it would have felt if they had said, "You have to reply quickly because the deadline is today." Have to with a reason felt fairer. It moved the pressure from their personal feeling to a shared external situation.
So the question to ask yourself is, where is this obligation coming from? Is it coming from inside me, from my own values and convictions? Must. Or is it coming from outside, from rules, deadlines, laws, or other people's requirements? Have to. Inside, must. Outside, have to.
Okay, let's move to idea number 2. And this one introduces need to, which is softer than both must and have to, and in many ways the most useful of the three in everyday polite conversation.
Idea number 2, need to, is about what is necessary for something to work. It is not about personal conviction like must. It is not about external rules like have to. Need to is about practical necessity, about what is required for a situation to go well, for a goal to be achieved, for something to function properly.
And need to is gentler than both must and have to. When you use need to, you are less likely to sound commanding or pressuring. You sound like you are stating a practical reality, a logical necessity, something that anyone looking at the situation would probably agree with.
And that gentle quality makes need to the most natural choice in a lot of everyday situations, especially when you want to say something is necessary without sounding controlling or formal. A friend giving advice, a colleague making a practical suggestion, someone explaining what a situation calls for. Need to fits all of these moments beautifully.
Need to is also the most flexible grammatically. It moves through tenses comfortably and sounds natural in almost every situation. Must is more limited. It has no past form of its own. You cannot say, "I musted." For past obligation, you always switch to had to. I had to leave early. She had to reschedule. Had to takes over completely in the past.
So if you are ever unsure whether to use must or had to in a past sentence, the answer is almost always had to. Must simply does not work comfortably in the past for obligation. Had to takes over completely.
And now, as promised, idea number 3, the one we have been building toward. Are you ready?
Tell them, Elena.
Idea number 3, the negative forms of must, have to, and need to are completely different in meaning, and mixing them up is one of the most common and most significant mistakes in English. Getting this right makes an enormous difference to how clear and natural you sound.
Because here's the truth that surprises so many learners. Must not and do not have to are not just different in grammar, they mean opposite things, and confusing them can actually change your message completely.
Must not, or mustn't, means something is forbidden. It is not allowed. It must not happen. You must not park here. It is prohibited. You must not tell anyone about this. It is forbidden. Must not is about prohibition, about something that should not be done under any circumstances.
Do not have to means something is not necessary, not required, not obligatory, but you can do it if you want to. You do not have to come to the meeting. It is optional, your choice. She does not have to wear a uniform today. No one is requiring it. Do not have to is freedom from obligation, not prohibition.
So listen to how completely different these two sentences are. You must not eat that. It is forbidden. Do not eat it under any circumstances. You do not have to eat that. No one is making you. It is your choice. Same topic, completely opposite messages.
And do not need to sits in the same space as do not have to. It means something is not necessary. You do not need to bring anything. We have everything ready. She does not need to worry. Everything is under control. It is softer and more gentle than do not have to, but carries the same essential meaning of no obligation.
I want to tell you about a listener who wrote to us. His name is Felix, and he wrote from Germany. He had been confusing must not and do not have to for years. One day, he was trying to reassure a nervous friend coming to visit that there was no obligation to bring a gift. He said, "You must not bring a gift."
And his friend arrived giftless and apologetic, thinking Felix had specifically banned gifts for some reason. Both of them were confused. The whole situation was a gentle, slightly awkward misunderstanding built entirely out of one wrong word.
When Felix looked it up and saw that "you must not bring a gift" means you are forbidden from bringing one, while "you do not have to bring a gift" means you are free not to, he said it was one of the most clarifying moments of his entire English journey.
He wrote to us a few weeks later and said, "I used do not have to correctly in a real situation for the first time, and I watched the other person immediately relax. Their whole body softened because the right word had finally carried the right message." He said it felt like a small door had quietly opened.
That story gives me chills every single time. So, here is your permission. Must not, forbidden, prohibited, do not do this. Do not have to, free, optional, no obligation. Do not need to, not necessary, no requirement. These three negative forms are doing completely different work. Let each one carry exactly what it means. Okay, let's take a gentle pause now and do our word tour, a calm, quiet walk through some of the words from today.
Just a few, slowly, so they settle into you.
First word, obligation. Something you are required to do, a duty or necessity, whether it comes from inside or outside. For example, we all have obligations to the people we care about. Obligation. Obligation.
Next word, conviction. A strong personal belief that something is true or important. When you use must, your conviction drives the obligation. For example, she spoke with such conviction that everyone in the room believed her. Conviction. Conviction.
Next word, external. Coming from outside, from rules or systems beyond yourself. Have to carries this external quality. For example, the pressure she felt was entirely external, from deadlines and expectations. External. External.
Next word, forbidden. Not allowed. Something that must not happen. For example, certain topics were forbidden in that conversation, and everyone knew it. Forbidden. Forbidden.
Next word, optional. Not required. Something you can choose to do or not. Do not have to is the language of the optional. For example, attendance at the workshop is optional but strongly encouraged. Optional. Optional.
And our last word, reassure. To make someone feel less worried by saying something calming and clear. Do not have to and do not need to are often used to reassure. For example, I wanted to reassure her that she had done nothing wrong. Reassure. Reassure.
6 words today: obligation, conviction, external, forbidden, optional, and reassure. Try to use one of them this week, even in your head, even in a sentence you write before you sleep, because a word you use is a word you keep.
And a word you only hear passes through you like wind. But a word you feel, a word you connect to a real moment, that word becomes yours forever.
Okay, now it is your turn, and this is our favorite part of every episode.
Yes, because now the conversation belongs to you.
Here is your challenge. Think of 3 things from your life right now. One thing you feel strongly about from inside yourself. A conviction, a belief, a personal necessity. one thing that is required of you by an external rule or situation, and one thing that you want to gently tell someone is not necessary, not forbidden, just not required.
Write one sentence for each. Use must for the conviction that lives inside you. Use have to for the external requirement, and use do not have to or do not need to for the thing you want to set someone free from. Notice how different each sentence feels as you write it.
For example, I must make more time for the things that genuinely matter to me. I have to submit my assignment by Friday because the deadline is set. And you do not have to have everything figured out right now. Nobody does.
Or, I must be more patient with myself. I have to attend a meeting tomorrow I cannot skip, and you do not need to apologize for taking the time you needed. That was never something you owed anyone.
That second one made me feel something. Notice how each sentence carries a completely different emotional weight. Must carries conviction, have to carries external reality, do not need to carries release and reassurance.
So please write your 3 sentences in the comments. Make them honest, make them yours, and notice what each word carries as you choose it.
And know this, when you write your comment, you are not just practicing grammar. You are sending a small piece of your real life out into a community of people who are all doing the same quiet, brave daily work as you. Learning a language, noticing small things, trying gently every day.
And your sentence might be exactly what another learner needs to read today. Someone who has been mixing up must not and do not have to for years and never knew why their English felt slightly wrong. And then they read your sentence and something shifts. Oh, these are different. I can feel it now.
One honest sentence gives permission to 100 quiet hearts.
Before we close today, thank you for listening all the way to this moment. That is not a small thing.
And to anyone who has been using must for everything and wondered why it sometimes felt too strong, now you know. Must carries your conviction. Have to carries the world's requirements. Need to carries practical necessity. And must not and do not have to are not versions of each other. They are opposites. And knowing that changes everything.
Inside conviction, must. Outside requirement, have to. Practical necessity, need to. Forbidden, must not. Free choice, do not have to. Let each word carry exactly what it is meant to carry.
Language that carries the right message is language that connects.
If this episode helped you even a little, please give it a like, subscribe to English Voice Podcast, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Your support helps this little podcast reach more learners, and every new listener is one more person who feels a little less alone in this journey.
Until next time, take care of your English and take care of yourselves. This was English Voice Podcast. I'm Elena.
And I'm Jax. We will see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.